Ready. Welcome, dear viewers. It's so nice to see you there. I have really interesting topic for you. We are in the SickBiker studio. I have to tell you, I love comparing group sets. Not only talking about some features of certain group set, but comparing those can really lead to some interesting conclusion. And I have a couple of interesting conclusions in my opinion for you on this episode, because today we're comparing the Shimano XT, of course MTB, M-8000 group set, to the all new for 2017 Shimano SLX M-7000, also 11 speed group set. Okay, so just to make a long story short, we're gonna simply compare some features. So we're gonna put those on the scale to see how much difference in terms of the weight we have. And there will be plenty of components. I don't really see significant difference that wouldn't really matter for me at all. And two parts that really do matter, and I'm gonna leave those for the end of this episode, all right? So I'm gonna turn on the scale, and the XT, let's just start with the crankset. If you haven't seen my unboxing of the XT group set, I recommend you do that, because I'm explaining all the features that you can find on the box. We have here the triple chain set of the XT, and now let's look at the SLX. So just in your hands, you don't feel any difference. In terms of the price, a whole XT group set, complete one with the brakes, would cost you around $590. SLX just below 500, like 494. So there is not so much difference in terms of the price, and I would say not so much in terms of the features as well. As you can see, design of these chain rings is different, because those mounting bolts are designed differently on both. But let's just weigh those. I'm gonna just weigh the right side. Okay, if you want to have the complete one. The complete XT triple chain set weighs 785 grams, so 785 grams versus SLX, also triple, same number of teeth and same length of the crank arms. We have 800 grams. 800 grams. Interesting thing here is that the arms will weigh almost exactly the same amount of grams. So the XT, just to be really precise, 229, and the SLX 229. So you have Holotech 2, same system on both, and there is just only one difference in terms of the systems you can find on the boxes. And it's in the material used for the spider of the chain rings. The SLX one has either aluminum chainring or steel chainring, or steel chainring with the glass fiber reinforced polymer, and the XT one will add to that the carbon fiber reinforced polymer on the spider for either the larger chainring on 2x11 or the mid one for 3x11. So there's the difference. There is no steel chainring also for the XT, thus the difference in terms of the weight. But Holotech system, those hollow cranks, like exactly the same in the technologies design. The chain rings will be lighter on XT here. In terms of the look, I would say this SLX looks like brushed aluminum alloy. Looks even nicer in my opinion than this glossy here and matte here in the middle XT. But that's just the matter of your choice. You can also buy, of course, the SLX in double, so 2x11, and you can as well buy just the crank arms. Of course, both. You cannot buy just one like right or left, I think. But this one came with right and left. Interesting thing, on the box they say 1x11, but I can see the threads for 2 chain rings. And correct me if I'm wrong, but when I was showing you the XT M-8000 or even XTR for 1x11, there were the threads only for one chainring, and the other threads just were there. It was same design, but the threads weren't made so that you wouldn't be able to use one crankset for either 1x11 or 2x11. So this is the crankset. There is not so much in terms of the innovation and technology differences. Okay, let's turn to the cassettes. Here is the 11-speed XT 1140 teeth cassette, and this one on my weight displays 419 grams. The weight is with this plastic thing that you mount all those sprockets on, so it would be maybe, I don't know, 8 grams. And then the SLX, I have the larger one. This is the 11x42, so it should be heavier also by those 2 teeth, but the weight is now 486. 486. The difference, when we look at the boxes, you can see that the XT1 has 2 triplets with the aluminum spider, and then the rest one will be like 1x1, and here SLX will have only 1 spider with like triplet, and then all the rest will be loose. That means here you have 1 triplet, the second triplet, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sprockets are just loose, and here you can only find 1 triplet on this spider, aluminum spider, nice looking one, but the rest, all the rest is just 1x1. So that's the difference. Now if we look at those teeth, both systems are HGX. They will have also on the crankset the dynamic chain engagement, so how crisp the shifting would be, it will be same for SLX and XT. I don't see any difference right here. Okay, now there are pretty many components when we compare SLX and XT that I would say are just exactly the same with different finishing, with different paint. Here we have the side pull XT and SLX front derailleurs. Really, some parts look like exactly the same parts, but SLX is matte black or gray. I think it's black, and this one is yeah, black gray glossy. The weight will be different also because this one is for triple crankset. You can see this arm is longer, this cage is longer, so the weight here will be 130. This one is shorter for 2x, so the weight here is 129. But if it was the same type, the difference in terms of the weight is like almost nothing. So I wouldn't say also that any of these will be better in terms of the shifting performance. So that's something it's good to know. And now the brakes. Let's look at the brakes. I have a front ones here to show you, and once more the calipers look exactly the same, so there is no cosmetic changes, but the finishing, once more, glossy for XT, matte for SLX, I would say the same. This connector here looks also the same. And then when we look at the levers, there is very minor difference here. Let me show you that. All right. So both will have this barrel adjuster for your distance between the lever and the handlebar, so for your fingers. The Shimano, the XT one has the free stroke adjustment here, and it's marked as free stroke adjustment. SLX doesn't have written anything here. It doesn't have also like a standard screw, but something like this. I think it's just the same. But just isn't we are not just told that this is free stroke adjustment and easy access here. Now the lever itself has the dimples here on the XT and is and it's just flat with no dimples on SLX, but the shape is the same, will fit very well 2 fingers and 1 finger as well. The clamp is exactly the same, so we have the iSpec system here, and these clamps are way thinner than on the previous models, so you really save this space on your handlebar, which is so cool. But if you look at those, really similar, if not same design. I would not expect XT ones to break better, because also when we look at the systems, those systems I explained to you on the XT unboxing, but here it's just not pretty much, but exactly the same. So the Use XC Cross Country Trail All Mountain, you have flat mount, you have mineral oil, you have iSpec 2 ice technology, so better cooling of those brakes. You can use either metal or resin pads, and you can also use the option with the fin, so even better cooling for your brakes. One-way bleeding, double pistons, everything, the bleeding port the same, 2-finger system, the clamp the same, so no difference here between XT and the SLX. Let's just see what my weight would say. I hope I'll be able to put it on my scale, my weight, my scale. So $90 difference will not make a lot of difference for you on the trails or even in the races. 275 for SLX, 275 for SLX, and let's just see the XT. The XT will weigh 225. So we have some different materials used here, but the design pretty much the same. You could also expect that the heavier one will be better in terms of overheating resistance, I would say so. So would not really expect XT to stop us faster. Okay, now are these two parts that make the difference. The first one is the derailleur. Let's start with the XT. Let's put it on the weight, on the scale. That's 278 grams. 278 grams. And the SLX, I can feel it's heavier. 313. So there is a difference here. Let's take the shifters as well. SLX 148 and XT 146. Okay, so there are some weight savings on the derailleurs, but the first thing that you will notice in difference between XT and SLX is the spring here and the clutch. The clutch on XT feels like way stronger, and also the spring, let me show you this one here. This is different design, feels like a bit harder. Let's just turn on this one on the SLX. It's, yeah, it does feel a bit softer, but also the spring here feels considerably softer. You can also see this is not unlike with the brakes or with the front derailleurs. This is completely different design, different looking. The length of those springs are different. Both are long cage derailleurs. If we compare the SLX to the previous SLX also, there was no clutch here, and there was different length of the cage even for the short one. So the short one was actually it was I think, yeah, it was shorter than the actual SLX GS, so short cage. Which one will be better? Let me assume that after talking about the shifters. The shifters also will make a lot of difference, and I think you will even be able to hear it. Shifting up the cassette, shifting down the cassette. Of course, it's without the rear derailleur, but just hear me out. Shifting up the cassette, shifting down the cassette. So the XT is way harder than the SLX, which would actually fit to the derailleur. Which one will be better? XT, in my opinion, will be much better if you're gonna use this in like a harsh environment, in muddy terrain, when your cable guides become not really clean, they become dirty, there's some mud coming into this. This weight of changing the gears will be smoother when your bike isn't really clean. Now, this one will be way nicer, but may not work so fine when you're really on a bumpy terrain in a really dirty environment. So XT, in my opinion, for racing riders on any condition, because when you're racing you expect anything to happen. If you're gonna use this for your trail bike, if you're gonna buy equipment like components for your wife, I would say SLX. It won't be as stiff, it won't be maybe super quick as XT, but feels so much better. The system's almost the same, Shadow Plus, so we have clutch on both, low profile. The XT has instant release, so you only push and it's already, the shifting is already done. Here you have to push and release. And also here on the XT you can do multiple releasing only by pushing, not by pulling. That's something I didn't know before. So you can release by 2. Here you can only release by 1. But the difference in how those click is just, this is like a computer mouse and this is something for really harsh terrain. My first try on this one was in Nowe Mesto, and I did episode on that when I said it doesn't really work smooth and I didn't like it. But now when I'm training also on my FSI in different environment, like in the winter, in the snow, I can see that this actually makes a point. It's not as nice to click comparing to this on SLX, but this will be better for the rough terrain. All right, I think that would be pretty much what I wanted to cover. Guys, if you have some questions, if you want me to measure anything and maybe show you some closer videos or pictures or of any parts, just let me know. $90 if in terms of the price. Let's jump into conclusion. I would say I would go for SLX. I don't need that extra aluminum chainring on the crankset, or maybe 2 triplets on the cassette, but I would go for SLX with XT derailleur and XT shifter for my racing. If I was gonna just have fun on the bike, on the trail, and not racing, not counting any like each second, SLX and $90 in the pocket, in my opinion, would be better. At least it would be my choice. Let me know, what do you think? Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye bye.